বাংলাদেশ এবং পাকিস্তানের মধ্যকার 1971 সালের যে যুদ্ধটি হয়েছিল সেটি আসলে কিভাবে সম্পৃক্ত হয়েছিল এবং বাংলাদেশ এবং পাকিস্তানের মধ্যে যে ভ্রাতৃত্বপূর্ণ রিলেশনটি ছিল সেই ভ্রাতৃত্বপূর্ণ রিলেশনটি শুধুমাত্র পলিটিক্যাল কারণেই কিনা আসলে এই পর্যায়ে গিয়ে দুইটি পূর্ব পাকিস্তান এবং পশ্চিম পাকিস্তানের মধ্যে যে যুদ্ধটি তৈরি হয়েছিল এটি আসলে আমরা নতুন জেনারেশনের মধ্যে অনেক সময় অনেক রকম বিভ্রান্তিকর তথ্য সৃষ্টি হয়ে থাকে। তবুও আমরা একটা কথা বলতে চাই যে আমরা একটা নতুন স্বাধীন পতাকা পেয়েছি এবং আমরা পেয়েছি নতুন একটি মানচিত্র, সেই মানচিত্রের নাম বাংলাদেশ। এই বাংলাদেশ আসলে কিভাবে সৃষ্টি হয়েছে এবং বাংলাদেশ পরবর্তী পাকিস্তান বাংলাদেশকে কিভাবে দেখছেন আমরা এই বিষয়টি নিয়ে আলোচনা করতে চাই। আজকে আমরা আমাদের স্টুডিওতে আমাদের সাথে সংযুক্ত হচ্ছেন সুদূর দুবাই থেকে বাংলাদেশের সাবেক হাইকমিশনার, যিনি 2016 থেকে 2018 পর্যন্ত যিনি বাংলাদেশের পাকিস্তানের হয়ে বাংলাদেশে হাই কমিশনার হিসেবে দায়িত্ব পালন করেছেন, রফিউজ্জামান চৌধুরী। আমরা রফিউজ্জামান চৌধুরীকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি। আসসালামু আলাইকুম ওয়া রাহমাতুল্লাহি তাআলা ওয়া বারাকাতুহু। স্যার, ওয়েলকাম টু আওয়ার প্রোগ্রাম পিবিএন বিশ্ব সংযোগ।
Thank you very much. But let me just make a little correction. My name is Rafiuzzama Siddiqui.
Sorry, Rafiuzzama Siddiqui. Thank you for your correction. So, sir, today I welcome you to our program. PVN Bisho Sangjok. This program is worldwide, all Bangladeshi can watching at the moment. So my first questions to you, do you know 1971 Bangladesh and Pakistan was fighting because of the political issues, then they can separate, and Bangladesh now is a very good country. Bangladesh build up their GDP growth and everything, business and politically stable already. So what do you think Bangladesh and Pakistan relationship at the moment?
You see, firstly, let me just thank you very much for having me in the program. And before I answer to your question, let me tell you very briefly that I have some very deep familial association and diplomatic association with your beautiful country and its beautiful people. As you mentioned, and what I gathered from your Bangla introduction, that you were talking about my grandfather, that he was governor of the former East Pakistan, the erstwhile East Pakistan. And then I had the opportunity to be in Dhaka twice. First, it was in my capacity, in the junior capacity as counselor in the High Commission of Pakistan, Dhaka. And then later, I went in 2016 till about 2018 February. I was High Commissioner of Pakistan to Bangladesh. So during my two stays, I'm basically a very gregarious person. It might sound a bit pompous, but I have developed lots of friendships during my first tenure as well as in the second one. I mean, from the first one, I built up when I was posted to Dhaka in 2016. And, Dhaka has been very, very close to my heart. And since I'm very fond of your culture, your music, I was, I kind of, learned Bangla music. And since I know I can read and write Hindi fluently, so I was also able to read Bangla a bit. So my connection, my association with Bangladesh has been deep, and I really cherish those, my postings to Bangladesh and my, association with your beautiful country and its people, as I said earlier. Coming back to your question, I would say that 1971, I was too young to comprehend the political situation of that time. But let me be honest and admit that there have been, frictions from the very beginning since Pakistan came into being. It started off with the language issue, which, Urdu was imposed all over Pakistan, which was not, appreciated by the Bangladeshis, because Bangladeshis are very, very close. The Bengalis are very, very nationalist in their mindset, and they didn't like the idea of accepting Urdu. Much later, it was accepted that Bangla will also be the national language of Pakistan. But I think probably the damage was done, and I would say that there were lots of issues which led to the, which led to the alienation of our Bengali brothers, and it started building up till 1971, when the elections were held in 1970, And, your Sheikh Mujib's party won the swept the elections, and then they were not asked to form the government. So there were many reasons which led to the, for us, we normally call it breakup of Pakistan, but for you, it was like liberation. So, so unfortunately, this thing happened. But now, since we are two sovereign, independent countries, my best good wishes are always with Bangladesh. I'm very happy that Bangladesh is doing so well in every, field, be it economic, be it social, and you guys have really, really doing exceedingly well, and leaving many countries of the region behind. Your economic, your profile has really improved over the period of time. And I think we need to learn a lot from Bangladesh. And even our prime minister has been, saying it on various occasions that Bangladeshis are doing so well, and we are very happy for you.
Sir, do you think what about the happening in 1971? So Pakistan need to do apologize about that issues. What do you think?
Yeah, you see, this is the main irritant in our relations. Apology issue remains the sticking point in our relations with Bangladesh. Um, now, when I was there in Dhaka, and my successor, he kinds of, whenever he gets an occasion, he gets an opportunity to meet your government officials or ministers or high dignitaries, this issue comes up. In my view, I think we have our own, opinion in the matter. But in my view, I agree with that, with this notion that as long as apology remains on the table, I don't see much improvement in our bilateral relations. But in diplomacy, or for that matter, in any, whenever we interact or whenever we talk to people, there is the best way to resolve issue is by talking to each other. Now, I would say that there is a bilateral mechanism of foreign secretary level talks, which is a mechanism under which we are supposed to discuss various issues and irritants in our relations, whereby we can look at the problems and try and resolve them. But unfortunately, those have not been held for almost now, if I'm not mistaken, for 12 years. So 12 years is a long time. So in my view, it is important that we meet, that we understand, and we talk to each other. We understand, we try and understand each other's problems. And unless and until we talk, unless and until we interact, we will not be able to move forward. So in diplomacy, we have to keep the doors open, if not locked, then at least ajar, that we are able to connect with each other. In my view, it is important, like, recently, as you mentioned in your intro, that Pakistan government has lifted all the restrictions regarding visas for our Bangladeshis to visit Pakistan. So we would appreciate if this step is reciprocated by your government in Dhaka, and people are allowed to meet each other. I'm of the opinion that the younger generation of both, Bangladeshis and Pakistanis who were born after 71 are not really, familiar to each other. So when people meet each other, when they talk to each other, when they interact, so half of the problem is solved. So in my view, it is important that the two peoples are allowed to meet. We are allowed to, Bangladesh has you come from a country which has beautiful culture, your art, your language, your music, your dance. We can, we also have similar things, but it is better that if we exchange programs, if there is an exchange of parliamentarians, if there is exchange of politicians, of media, of various sectors of life, where people can exchange views and learn from each other's experiences. So I think it is important. Political issues, of course, are a bit challenging, but when you talk to each other, I think things would improve.